That's us, and we are Weekend Live. Patrick, and today.
I'm sorry, I'm alive.
And today, Jackie Dunphy sitting in for Bridget Leroy.
Hello, everybody.
You loved her so much last week on the real estate roundtable. She's back.
You can't get rid of me.
All right, but you know the real reason we wanted Jackie on the show? Because of her hands.
Oh, yes, that again.
She has famous
I'll
hands.
poke
She has
you, I'll
famous.
poke you.
She poked the Pillsbury Doughboy.
If you're just joining us, try it with me.
Oh,
I'll just
yeah.
giggle.
Oh,
Just
really?
don't get caught in
There
that
you go.
fat
Yeah.
roll or something.
Oh, God.
That's gonna go on. That's gonna
So
go
bad.
viral, and I'll be canceled.
That's
This is Weekend Live, the Hamptons Now. It's everything going on in the Hamptons this weekend. We're gonna tell you about the weather. We're gonna be at open houses,
Hey,
tag sales,
Jackie's here.
movies. We've seen almost everything except Haunted Mansion. We're gonna have the stars of that motion picture play a weird game a little later on in the show. We're gonna learn about a lot of no-see-ums out here this year. Mosquitoes and gnats and
Ticks, oh my.
ticks. Why?
Bad ticks.
It's the Hamptons, but we have a way. Do you know what Michael Keaton said to do?
What?
Michael Keaton, Batman. He's Batman. Said you rub.
I thought he was Mr. Mom.
He was also Mr. Mom. You rub vanilla on your arms.
Really?
And that works. And then at the end of the night, you can lick your arms as for a late night snack.
Oh,
He
my.
he tweeted that this week. I think our guests will say there's a better alternative, and they
Yes.
will present it. And also, we have a special. We have the opportunity. We love it when animals visit,
Yes, we do.
because
Oh,
they're better behaved than I am. They're housebroken.
And they're more entertaining than we
They're
are.
very much more so. And so the gentleman with no
Jeff Berry from No Dogs Left
no
Behind.
dogs left behind.
Now, if you don't know what they do, they rescue dogs from all over the globe. But I believe, and we're gonna get the full answer from Jeff, they started by going to China, and rescuing dogs from the doggy trade. Where they
Dog
actually,
eat trade.
drug eat
There
trade.
you go.
Right.
Pronunciate.
Enunciate or pronunciate? What is it?
Pronunciate.
Okay,
Let's call it
pronunciate.
yes, there are people that come from the United States, go to even like Beijing, and they gather up. You can take, he'll tell us more about it. I
Yeah.
think as an individual, you can bring as many as 5 dogs back.
They bring back
Wow.
more. I have a friend who works with Jeff, and he goes over, and my friend Jason, who's also a real estate agent in the city, he goes and they go to China, and he comes back with dogs. Actually,
That's
he
amazing.
he has
That
two.
is-
49, 50 dogs on a pallet back.
Well, let's bring
49
him
to
on.
50. All right,
Let's
Jeff,
bring
come on
him
in, yeah.
Let's bring, oh my God,
Oh
we
my-
got 2.
We got 3.
Oh,
Oh my God.
3.
We got 3.
Here, have a seat over
Right.
here.
All right. Come on.
and- hey, guys.
Push up, down.
Who do we have here?
Yeah.
I
Yellow,
don't
come. Sit. This is yellow, down, yellow,
Well,
down.
down will be out of camera.
Camera,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Up,
Is there any- They're so well behaved.
I
Right.
know. Oh, my goodness.
Do they speak Chinese?
Yeah, so Prince's comes from the Chinese dog meat trade. He was most likely a special forces dog there.
Oh,
Wow.
We rescued. And he actually is my personal security guard. He was there too. He worked with me for 6 years on the front lines there in China.
Wow.
They are
Hey,
Hey,
gorgeous
Jeff, do me a
animals,
favor.
and
Can
we-
you sit down and hold that? Will you?
Yeah,
Will
is there
they?
any way they'll come up
Lie.
and sit on
Yeah.
the,
On your
So,
lap.
On your lap.
Lie.
they think that's wrong.
Lie.
Oh, my
No.
God.
How
Now,
do you
these
go
are
wrong with
shepherds, these
dogs?
are shepherds.
This is a Belgian Malinois. Yellow is a bomb sniffing dog from Afghanistan. I rescued him from the Taliban.
Wow.
He's
And-
now sniffing the show
Yeah,
and sensing that he's on.
Because it knows a
Or
bomb when it
sniff you.
smells
Well,
one.
he's sniffing to see what's going on. Yeah, he is. That's exactly what he's doing. And Stam is a special forces dog from Afghanistan as well. I rescued them from the Taliban. These are the dogs that we left behind.
This is United States forces.
Yes,
left
the
behind.
special forces we left behind when we evacuated Afghanistan. We had to leave the war dogs behind, and I was contacted on a
I'm sorry,
covert
but
mission.
somehow that just doesn't seem right.
You know, there are things that are right and there's things that are wrong. I can't judge those, but
That's
all I
true.
could say is that I went there to get the
To
voiceless.
rescue, good.
And that's my job. And I go, and that's what No Dogs Left Behind does. And we go to the most dangerous places around the world and we fight for the voiceless, risking our lives.
Right.
Whether it be in China, fighting to end the dog meat trade,
Right.
whether it be in Afghanistan to bring back our war dogs, and we brought back 300 dogs.
For how long? How long, when did you
I
start
was there
this?
for I've been doing this since 2016. I hung my my suit and tie up. I was a fashion jewelry designer, mechanical engineer, and I
Wow.
decided that I wanted to make change in the world. And my son's a marine biologist right now, making change too. So he's in the
Oh,
sea,
awesome.
and I'm on land. So,
Wonderful.
and then we're also in Ukraine. And by the way, last year this time we hosted an event. And our event was for me to go to Ukraine, and we lost volunteers in Ukraine, but I'm very proud to say that our work has been extraordinary. We've reduced the growth in population in China by sterilizing 75% of Agostomel's community dogs. We have delivered over 7 tons of food in war-torn zones that nobody can go to because the distribution is just cut off and bombs exploding and in fact our convoy was attacked with missiles and sending our convoy
And
sideways.
let's be specific, when you say you lost volunteers, you had some.
Yes, volunteers that are participating with it. Yeah, so I mean the work we do, we risk our life and we all sign up for this.
Wow.
And that's the type of work we do. So essentially we fight for global animal welfare laws. And that's the big picture mission. And we're fighting to end the dog meat trade. We're fighting to end Yulin. We're getting close. In fact, I have team members that just got out of jail in China, my right-hand man. I have 7 volunteers that are still in the hospital that were attacked by the butchers because the corrupt police turned. And not only that, but the gangsters, the cartel, was the whole village. The whole village turned on my volunteers, and we were in numbers, strength in numbers. So I pray for them. They're there. They're continuing to fight. I pray for them in the hospital too, and that's not going to stop us.
And the Chinese authorities find them guilty of something to put them into prison?
They put my right-hand man in prison and some of my team members in prison, and they detained a lot of our team members.
On what
to
charges?
Give the butchers time to evacuate the dogs from the breed.
So something trumped up, something
Yeah,
made
no,
up or
no, yeah,
something.
we attacked and we were looking to shut down a slaughter den with over 600 dogs. And
Holy cow.
yeah, I mean, and we have content and videos to show it live, and there was hand-to-hand combat, but this is the work we do.
Now,
This
how
is
do you gain access to these certain countries, or is it easy to, or
It's
do you
not
sneak
easy.
in?
It's not easy. We have very intense security teams. Our security teams. We have some security teams that can fight real good,
Oh
but
my.
but we've got even stronger security teams that are technology-based security teams that could fight harder, and they could
Wow.
shut down grids. They could shut down cell phone structures.
Wow.
And we really know how to do it. We have an underground army fighting a war against cruelty.
This is amazing.
And but what I want everyone to know is that what we're doing is we're also exposing the ongoing atrocities that are taking place. The world was brought to its knees by this pandemic,
Right.
and it still exists. These wet markets still exist. All this still exists, and we're exposing it, and we're going to launch a massive campaign to show the American people that we need to stand up for the voiceless, not just here in the United States, but all over the world.
Now, where are some of the hotspots, other than China and war zones? Are there any other hotspots?
In terms of
In terms
the
of
dog meat
animal-
trade, in terms of dog meat trade, East
Yes.
Asia is a hot spot for the dog meat trade, and we have cells all over East Asia. But we're in Turkey too. We're assisting rescues in Turkey too.
Wow. I didn't know
So we have in Pakistan, in Ukraine. In fact, I'm going back to Ukraine in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Stan, come, Stan, come.
Okay.
Yellow, come.
Now, there's
Yellow,
3
come.
dogs
Yellow,
down
come.
here.
So
if you can't see them.
Yellow is going to be active again. He's
Oh.
working with me now. In fact, Yellow's dog handler, who was in Afghanistan, regrouped with me, and now we're working with him to bring him active again because the areas we go are active with mines.
Cool.
So we
Can we
wanna
get
save
Yellow to
some.
jump up on you a little bit and see a little
Yellow,
better? I
Yellow,
apologize for
Yellow,
the-
come.
Now, by you saying.
Yellow, come.
Train.
Oh.
Come, Yellow, come, Yellow.
Oh, my God.
Now,
Do
how
you
did, wait, can
train
I ask
them?
one?
Yeah, so I work intensively with them. I'll send you guys some videos of
Okay.
them. These are actually turned out to be my personal dogs.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
so they're not, we can't adopt them?
So, yeah, we have tons of dogs to adopt.
Okay.
We actually have a still of what, like a couple dogs that you
Yeah.
can adopt from No Dogs Left Behind.
Yeah.
But how did this whole thing start, No Dogs Left Behind?
You know, again, I woke up one day in 2016 as a fashion jewelry designer, mechanical engineer, and sitting in a room with my friends and watching a documentary called Cowspiracy, and saying to myself, my God, we need to do something, or else our kids are not going to have a planet to live on.
Right.
And I remember sitting in the room, and it was like, wow, while my friends talking, saying, we're not gonna be here already then, there's nothing for us to worry about. I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't relate to them not understanding that our kids are gonna have kids. And we need to do something for change.
Right.
And at that point, agriculture, animal agriculture is the leading cause for the deterioration of our planet. And we need to all stand up for animal welfare. And this is my way for standing up, and
Nicely
standing
done.
tall.
Now, you have an
That's
event this
wonderful.
weekend that you're
Yeah,
that
we
you're
ha-
doing
we
for
have,
raise
yeah,
money?
yes, we have an event this weekend, and I would really love everyone to come. It's Hope in the Harbor, and I really do hope everybody comes, just to give you the correct information on Hope on the Harbor.
We have it, I think we have a full
Bay
screen,
Street?
Jay.
Okay, fantastic.
At the,
I appreciate
at the yacht
At the
club?
Bay Street, Sag Harbor, okay, at the, yeah.
We are live, we are
Breakwater Yacht Club.
unrehearsed, and we prove it every weekend.
Thank
This-
you.
And there's more
There it
information
is.
there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And the tickets are available online. You can go to No Dogs Left Behind the website. And tell us about the event. What's going to be going on there?
So we have some amazing people, we have amazing gifts, we have some auction items, and we cannot fight the fight in the front lines if we don't get donations. It's simple as that.
Right.
It's simple as that. I mean, we support, we fight for change, but without volunteers, without people adopting, without people donating, without people engaging, and you don't have to come with me on the front lines to risk your life. And you can
But
just, you don't have to
plenty of people
donate.
do, right? I mean, I said at the top of the show that I have a friend, Mark Fung, in New York, who's flown there to Beijing, wanted me to come with him and said, we can bring up to is it 5 dogs per person?
Yeah, well, the laws have changed
Okay.
very rapidly, so those days were over.
Oh, really?
You know, now it's been very complicated, but we have mastered the technique of.
Do you have to smuggle these animals out?
We have ways of evacuating our survivors that have proven to be very successful.
Got it.
Okay,
Well, and
mum's
they're-
the word of
okay.
it.
And by the way, you have a lot of great supporters out here.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of my friends in real estate. London Jewelers are big sponsors
Oh,
of yours.
Candy Udell, London Jewelers, Candy, she's a breath of fresh air and my partner since day one. She was with me day one when I was hostage on the side of the mountain in China. When I first started, she was there for me from day one. You know, I couldn't have done this and I can't do this without her.
How many dogs rescued to date?
Tens of thousands.
Oh my
that's
gosh,
awesome.
that's
Tens of thousands.
And by the way,
Amazing.
Jeff drove here from, where did you come from, Westchester?
Oh, no, we came from Canton, New York, which is our shelter, and one of the fundraising initiatives is to raise funds to grow that shelter so we can engage in emergency responses for the United States as well.
Well, the
We
dogs have taken
running
over.
around
Yeah,
here,
it's
it's
Stan-
wonderful.
They're sniffing bombs
Stan-
again.
Well, Stan's an emergency response dog, so he actually was actually with soldiers in combat with AK-47s, and he stands on the right side. Yeah, he's an
Hi,
amazing
guys.
dog.
Hi,
So,
hello.
light,
I wish you all
so,
could see this.
Wusha.
We have to learn Chinese if we adopt it.
Yes,
Well,
that's
you know,
right.
well, he's, as a personal security guard for me, I didn't want anyone to know what I was saying
They
to
seem
him.
so docile for
Yeah.
being.
Yeah, well, you know, I could show you, I could put a bike sleeve on and I could put a bodysuit on. I could
No,
show
no,
you
no,
how
we'll hold
how
it,
not
we'll hold it.
docile he is, okay?
We'll
Take your
Because-
word for it.
Because a lot of people say that, okay?
Hey,
All right,
listen,
well, I
thank
wanna
you.
appreciate you guys.
Jeff,
Thank you
awesome.
guys for
What you-
sending
what
me.
you do is
Yeah.
awesome.
You guys are
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
All right,
Thank you.
all right, take you.
Bye,
I
doggies.
love
No
you
do-
guys.
no
man.
dogs left
No dogs
behind.
left behind. And by the way,
Saturday-
thank you for Jason Walker too, man. He's rocks.
Yeah, Jason's my
Yeah.
buddy who's a real
Yeah.
estate agent, said he's very involved with this, and that's how I got.
So
into
just
it.
for the record, you brought 3 dogs and you're not gonna leave any of them behind.
So.
No dogs left
No
behind.
dogs left behind, but I do have some dogs for adoption. Please come to the event.
Bada-boom.
We will be at
All
the
right.
event.
Bye-bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Jeff.
I love you
Thank
guys.
you.
Man, take care now.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
There they
Bye,
go.
doggies.
Pretty cool.
Oh, they're beautiful, beautiful.
Bye-bye, guys.
Oh, my
Those are
God.
those are some gorgeous animals. and
Okay.
He's just not really enthusiastic enough.
No, he's not at all. Oh, he's still. Oh, Jeff's giving out his business card. He's buying
Oh, there
tickets
you
and
go.
like, there you go. Let's hope he has good weather this weekend. Do we want to talk about the weather?
Well,
Yes,
We
it's
do.
Brought to you by Melissa Cohn Group with William Ravis Mortgage. More at ravis.com. Do we have any full screen weather to bring up? And hopefully
maybe,
we
who
will.
knows? But it's
Saturday and
gonna be-
Sunday, in a word, hot and maybe a little wet. Let's hope it doesn't rain on the No Dogs Left Behind benefit in Sag Harbor this weekend. Saturday, high in the low to mid 80s. It felt a lot hotter today.
Yeah, we've
you know,
had a hot week, but this weekend is getting a little cooler and the humidity goes down.
chance of afternoon thunderstorms and humidity at 77%. UV index 8 out of 11. I still don't understand
Sunscreen.
why they go to 11.
Bring that
Sun's up
sunscreen.
at 5:42.
We're
Sets at
easily confused.
8:08. 8:08.
Spinal
That's
Tap
it.
fans.
Jody's giving us the lowdown. What is it, Jody?
They're Spinal Tap fans.
Spinal Tap fans. It goes one more than 10.
Goes to 11, right.
Sunday, high in the upper 70s, partly cloudy, and humidity drops to about
Upper
63%.
70s, that's amazing.
Upper 70s
that'll
is
be
nice.
good.
That'll be nice.
Yes, and lower humidity.
UV index
Little
rises to 9 out of 11.
Sunblock.
Sun's up at
Sunblock
5:42, sets at about 8:06. That is your weekend weather from me and Melissa Cohn Group with William Ravis Mortgage.
If you're just flipping around, this is not a town council meeting. We have nothing to vote on. But you are watching public television in the Hamptons. And it's like the Today Show if we were all out drinking the night before. That's how the show's been described. This is Weekend Live. We have so much to tell you about. You
We
just
do.
met some amazing
We're kind of like the
rescue
Robin
dogs.
Birch show, but we keep our clothes on.
That's right.
Well, we could change
We can
that.
dance, we can sing.
Real estate.
Real estate. We're gonna talk real estate in a little bit.
All right,
So,
yeah,
Ju-
and we also have, we wanna talk about Guys and Dolls.
Yes.
Junior is happening here at LTV all weekend long, and.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Yes.
Which is this right
Luck
here.
be a little
Yeah.
lady, yeah,
Yeah.
based on the Damon Runyon, obviously, that play being put on by some very, very talented young people. I also had, this is a new book dropping this weekend called Restrict, written by Sol Rivera. That is the 17-year-old daughter of Geraldo Rivera. They had a party for her book this week at Canoe Place. Geraldo, the proud father, was there. It was lovely. This is a poetic narrative, she calls it, and she talks about everything that kids go through with body image and shaming and all the things that, and
Very
she's
important.
sort of molded it into poetry and talks about that. So that's dropping this weekend, and
Also, I want to talk about, if you pulled Saul's book over out of the way for just a second.
oh, sure.
The big buzz in Sag Harbor is this village loses the gas ball parking spaces. So what that
What
is
does that
that
mean?
there used to be this big natural gas ball in Sag Harbor. The village took it over. They were hoping to
Well,
make
they
it.
had a 99-year lease
Right.
with the gas company.
Uh-huh.
And it came up and someone outbid the village. So now
It's going to
there's
be
no more-
housing and some commercial properties, I believe.
And parking
And par-
for a new development.
Correct,
That's the-
correct.
So do we
the
need a
basic.
giant gas ball? Where's that gonna move?
No, that's true, but we
does
need
that-
parking, we need parking in the village, but
we
anyway,
go.
enough said, there is another this weekend opening through July 6th, a wonderful artist show at the Oshawa Hall in the Springs, it's all local artists, and we're always big on supporting our local people, so please try to go.
That is, if you've not been to Ashwa Hall, any of the openings there, they're a lot of fun.
They are.
And the art is, literally, it's fantastic stuff. And
We're gonna talk about our art event a little later on in the show. We have William Quigley here from the AB New York Gallery, and there is a special event happening there next weekend. But now, should we talk about,
Real
all
estate, you're gonna
things
stay,
realty?
you're gonna stay real estate and talk with me,
Why
with
don't you,
Jackie.
do you wanna sit with Melissa?
All right, I'll sit with
wanna be
Melissa,
the-
sure.
my.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wait, I
on the
have
hot
shorts, I
seat.
have shorts on today,
Am
so.
I
yeah,
in
no
the
one can
driver's
see.
seat here? I
Yes,
love
you
it.
are.
Okay, we'll just get rid of the pests.
Oh my
you know.
God.
Here we go.
This is the real estate roundtable and,
Hi, Melissa.
as our special
Hey
guest.
Patrick, how
Here,
are
scoot
you?
in
I'm
a-
good.
scoot
I-
into the light a little more.
Yeah, you're in the
Patrick.
dark, dear.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
So,
All right, okay.
how
that
is
got
the
much
real
better.
estate market?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's going on?
new?
Well, the big news this week in real estate is about interest rates rising yet again. Melissa, do you wanna talk about that?
Can I talk about a house for sale instead?
No, let's talk interest
So-
rates, that's what everyone's buzzing about.
So you're good cop and she's bad cop? Is
Something
that
like that,
basically it?
anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, the Fed met this week and they raised rates another quarter point. We see it as consumers in the prime rate. The prime rate went from 8.25% to 8.5%. So if you have a home equity loan, credit card, you're gonna watch those rates go up on you immediately.
Wow.
It's gonna impact student loans, car loans, and indirectly, it's also impacting mortgages. You know, mortgages are not tied to the Fed funds rate, they're tied to the 10-year treasury yield.
Right.
But the 10-year treasury basically looks at the rate of inflation and the state of the economy.
Talk to.
So good news, oh hi. Good news for the economy is bad news for mortgage rates, because good news means that there's still inflation in our system and bond yields go up. The 10-year treasury crossed over 4% yesterday for the
Ooh.
third time this year. And the average rate of a mortgage probably went over 7% yesterday.
But you know, let's be realistic. Is 7% historically really that drastic?
It's actually really a pretty good rate. When I
Right?
started in
Right.
business decades ago,
Yeah.
you know, mortgage rates were in the mid-teens. I was selling 1-year adjustables at 15 and 16% when I
Wow.
first started. And basic people said the rule of thumb is if you can get down to like an 8 or a 10% rate, you know, we'll really be in good shape.
Right.
You know, then we
Now
got
we're
to
below
8, we
that.
got to 10, we got to 6, and then we went through a 20-year period of very low interest rates. You know, interest rates plummeted during the pandemic, but if you go back as far as say 20 years ago, 2003, we had 30-year fixed rates at around 3% back then as well. And we went through a 2-decade period of interest rates probably peaking at no more than about 5.5%. So we've all gotten very spoiled.
Right.
You know, and it's not just short-term memory of what happened during COVID, even pre-COVID, the 2019, the year before COVID, you know, the average rate of a 30-year fix was probably 4%.
So what do you see in your crystal ball here going
No,
into
the
next
Fed
year?
has now raised rates 11 times. And they will eventually, with all of these rate hikes, slow the economy. What's been amazing to see is the resiliency of the consumer. People continue to spend. I mean, go to restaurants out here. Try to go to a store on a
You
Saturday.
can't get into anything.
You can't get into
True.
anything. You know, the consumer continues to spend. And as long as they spend, that keeps the rate of inflation higher. And even more amazing is that the employment rate has remained so low in this country. And that more jobs have been created each month than anyone expected. You know, we had over 220,000 new jobs created last month, almost 500, you know, the month before. You know, the job creation and employment remain strong. And as long as people have jobs and they're spending money,
Right.
inflation's gonna remain higher, and it's gonna take that much longer for rates to go down. Now, this morning, we saw the Fed's key and most favorite inflation index came out, showing that the rate of inflation is at the lowest pace it's been in over 2 years.
That's a good thing.
That's
So
a very
it's
good
starting
thing.
to
Which is a
work
great
already,
thing,
or-
but the bond market's saying, yeah, but you know what, also there were fewer people filing for unemployment yesterday. The GDP rate came out yesterday and came out that GDP in the second quarter was up at 2.4%. The market was looking at 2%. So it says it's still this go-go economy.
But are these
But-
teething pains? I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Well,
You know, to get
you know,
the,
people say that it takes anywhere from 6 to 18 months for each Fed rate hike to work its way into the economy, to start to slow the economy down. We're just 18 months out from the very first rate hike in March of 2022.
okay.
So you would expect, I mean, my personal belief is that we're gonna fall off a cliff at some point, because, you know, interest rates are very high. Consumers have run out of their savings, they're spending on credit cards,
Right.
credit card
Student
rates are
debt
really
is
high.
Right.
due
Yeah.
People
again.
have to start making their student loan payments again this fall.
Yeah.
And I think that we're gonna see people slowing down, shutting their wallets, and that will slow the economy down. But I think that
Will it slow the economy down in the Hamptons?
Well, the Hamptons has always been a bubble.
We
and
love our
The
bubble.
answer is that there's
We live in a bubble
so
and we
there's
love
so much wealth in the Hamptons that it'll never slow it down that the way it will in Akron, Ohio.
So there's a base, there's a support base
There's a
that won't.
support base out here. There are a lot of people, they unfortunately for me, paid cash for their homes. People have inherited wealth. People are not relying and living paycheck to paycheck. You know, most of the people in this country live paycheck to paycheck.
Wow.
And those are the people that are gonna get impacted. When their car lease that they got 3 years ago, well, you know, at 2% comes up and they
Right.
have to get a new car lease at 6 or 7%, all of a sudden that car lease payment is that much more
That will
expensive.
hurt. That
So
will
Melissa,
definitely
on
hurt.
$1 million, what does half a point mean in a payment?
A 0.5% over a course of a year is $5,000, it's $400 a month.
So it's
Wow.
substantial.
It's money.
Yeah.
That's
it's
like
money.
one
money.
dinner.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's one dinner
Out
at
here.
Bill Bouquet.
I'm
Yeah.
very,
Anyway.
yeah, I'm very disappointed to hear my Bill Bouquet payments are gonna go up now.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm still paying off the
But
last.
they're
We're gonna have to cut you off.
They
Come
are
on,
saying this is
cutting
gonna
you
be,
off.
this is the
This
last
was a-
rate
they-
hike, they think.
Maybe, I think perhaps maybe November might be.
Really?
But the Mortgage Bankers Association, here's the good news part, is still predicting that mortgage rates will drop back towards 6% by the end of this year, closer to 5% by the end of next year, and in the 4s again in 2025, which is good
Wow.
news for all of those of us in the room who are
Well-
involved in real
And
estate.
even real estate, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, because when rates come down, more buyers come back into the
True,
market.
true. And we had a girl here a couple weeks ago, her name was Sarah Alvarez, you might know her.
I've heard of
Okay,
her.
She was talking about how they had the mortgage rates that will go down if the interest rate goes down.
Well, an adjustable rate
Goes
loan,
down, yes.
you can, you know.
But
peop-
also some lenders were letting people refinance a year later and
Without
actually
costs.
paying some of those costs, some of
Correct,
those
and
closing
that, and what
costs.
will happen is when rates were super low, banks got rid of the modification programs. They said if you wanna refinance, you have to pay for it because no one wanted them to come back at a lower rate.
Right,
But now that the average rate is close to 7%, and it'll be mostly the portfolio lenders. If your mortgage is sold to Fannie or Freddie, you're not gonna have a modification option. But if you take a loan, like we take a lot of our clients to our local banks, because they will own and hold the mortgage, and when rates start dropping and those rates that people closed at 6 and 7 and they go down to 5 and 4%, the banks will start to offer and will be able to offer these lower closing costs, no closing costs
Mm.
programs in order to get people lower rates. And some banks will also offer what's called a modification, meaning that all you basically have to do is give them $1,000, sign a piece of paper, and you don't have to go through the refinancing process at
Wow,
all.
That's fantastic.
simplifying.
and you know what's funny is a lot of people
No, it's
think.
not so good.
Oh, no, well, no, it's good you can do that, it's good you can do that.
Good for the
absolutely.
consumer.
It
For
is
the
good for the
consumer,
consumer.
but not for you, yes. But you know what, now I lost my train of thought, you threw me off. Oh, no, but a lot of people pay cash out here, right?
Yes.
But
Or they
even-
say
they
they
pay
pay cash.
Yes,
They're
And we all
borrowing
know that.
against their securities.
exactly, that's a
And
misnomer.
even so, as the prime rate goes up, the cost of borrowing against your securities gets more and more expensive. So
Correct.
even at today's crazy rates, if you were to take a 5-year adjustable, a regular mortgage against the property, it's cheaper than borrowing against your securities.
Let's be clear about what you're saying. If you're just joining us, this is Patrick McLaughlin and Melissa Cohn, and we're talking the Real Estate Roundtable on Weekend Live. If I pledge a portfolio, can Merrill start selling stocks to cover my mortgage in a dire situation?
Well, remember the money, when you borrow against your securities, that it's a margin against a percentage of the value of your securities.
Say what?
So if the, so
Sorry.
if your stock portfolio drops and it's worth less money, it's possible you get a margin call and you're forced to sell stock in order to cover
We're
the
coming to
margin.
take your den.
Yes, right.
We need to-
That
So what
two-car
is-
garage is very important to us
That's
today.
It's now a one-car garage.
What does all this mean for the real estate market out here, Patrick?
Well, Jackie, I was gonna ask you that question, but bottom line is, we're.
Wait, you guys want to switch?
Yeah.
No, but it's slowed down, it's not, I
Has
mean,
it?
listen, nothing can compare to 2 years ago at the height of COVID. It was insane out here, like literally, we were working 7 days a week.
But there's
all
definitely
day.
still activity.
There's still activity, but you know, when you're traveling 100 miles an hour and then you slow down to about 45, it feels like you're not moving.
Very true.
Things are moving, but it's not at the go-go pace that we had. So people are walking around saying the market's slow, the market's slow. It's not slow, it's just slower.
Is there too
So-
much inventory?
You know what, I always say about the Hamptons, it's what I call a phantom inventory. You know, there's a lot of people out here who list their homes and say, if I can get $5 million, I'll sell. The house is only worth 2. What do you think's gonna happen? Solid inventory with solid pricing and realistic pricing is moving.
That's
The ones that are.
And when rates are down, people who have mortgages at 2 and 3% will be more interested in getting back into the marketplace.
That's
If you have a 3% mortgage, you're not gonna wanna sell your house now and have
No.
to take a 6 or 7% loan with your next house. Costs you twice as much money to borrow, and you end up with less house, basically.
The golden handcuffs they keep talking about.
Correct,
So
Oh.
people who were thinking of selling may not be this summer.
correct.
Unless they elevate their price so high and they're like, if they get that number, then it makes
don't
financial
care.
sense for them to wanna sell.
But don't
Hey,
you
this is-
think buyers are a little bit savvier nowadays, on pricing?
Totally, totally.
So-
I mean, listen, you can, I mean, although, don't ever pay attention to Zillow, as I always say. There's a reason it's called Zestimate and not an estimate. It's a guess. But listen, there's so much information in terms of on the internet and online, and transfers are online now. Years ago, there were,
Right, we have
there were
access to
publishers.
all this information. We know how much someone's paid for their house. We know how much they're putting it on the market for.
Buyers are often more educated than the sellers, and I find that over and over again. So,
Very true.
I mean, what do you think, Jackie? Do you agree?
I agree, I totally agree. Everything you both said, absolutely.
You can agree to disagree.
I have no
Yeah,
Disagree
idea,
to
but I
agree.
guess I'll agree. Hey, we're.
I'll agree
we're-
for him as well.
We're coming to the end of the segment. I really appreciate always great information. This is Weekend Live, so you were listening to a conversation that is happening over the last weekend of July about the current state of real estate and mortgages, and that's thanks to Melissa Cohn and the
Our
William
sponsor,
Ravis
our
as one of our
sponsor,
sponsors.
our
Yes.
sponsor. Yeah, thanks, studio audience for Melissa. Good. Woo.
One way to get on
Thanks,
the show.
thanks, one way to get on. Yeah, it's so hard to get on this show. Yeah, where's that bomb sniffing dog again?
We want to tell you a little bit about what's happening at the movies this weekend, but before we do that, let's take a look at the stars of Haunted Mansion, who have decided to.
There's a movie called Haunted
Haunted
Mansion.
Mansion.
Wasn't there an Eddie Murphy called Haunted
It
Mansion?
is. It's a Disney remake of a movie they did in the early 2000s. This has a huge cast, including Tiffany Haddish and Jamie Lee Curtis. And
Oh, wow.
Danny DeVito actually puts his head on the block in a little game they called Haunted Headbox, I think. Take a look.
Hey everyone,
Hi, everyone.
Heidi, hi.
we are the cast of Disney's Haunted Mansion.
Now, who's ready to reach into the unknown? It's time for
The Haunt Box. Make yourselves comfortable.
Mystery box.
What's in the box?
That's so great. Okay, that's it, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Ooh, I felt like hair.
Ew. Ew, there's ears. It's a bald head. Oh my God. Is this Danny?
That gave me a little jump.
Let's go. Oh, hell
There's a
no!
sound.
No, we're out.
It feels a bit like a tarantula.
Hell no.
Y'all are messed
Why?
up for that.
I'll get you.
It's very,
Kind of a cool hat.
it's actually very comforting.
Y'all playing tricks on me, huh?
Oh, this stuff, please. I'm a mother.
What do you think it is? Ain't nothing in there.
You think this?
Okay.
Oh, I'm running to the
that's
movie
a little
theater.
behind the scenes at Haunted. None of that is in the movie, which opens this weekend at the Regal in East Hampton, not in Sag Harbor. We'll show you all the movie times a little later on in the show. But if you're just joining us, this is Weekend Live, the Hamptons Now, and if something is biting you, we have a solution.
Very, very timely, because big article this weekend about alpha-gal disease, which is the tick-borne illness that listen, we're in the land of ticks out here, let's be real.
Mrs.
Well,
McCuddy
did you
picks
know
one or
that
two off.
Suffolk County has 4% of the infected population with the alpha-gal disease?
I don't even know what this is. What's the alpha?
Alpha-gal, well, we'll explain to it.
All right, good.
We'll explain that to you, but Suffolk County is like a danger zone as far as ticks are concerned, and with all the diseases that they bring with them.
Well, not only that, but it's so prolific. In fact, we booked Jackie on the show today because she had Lyme disease very recently.
And I still have it, but getting better and
And
better.
wait, you're on meds right now, I
Yes,
hope.
doxycycline, which is the standard antibiotic that they
But
give
before we
you.
introduce our
Oh,
guests,
yeah.
that's for years been very difficult to diagnose. Is it still, or did they find it pretty quickly in you?
According to the symptoms, and there's so many varied, the doctors out here are really cluey as far as that goes. You know, they see it all the time. So even if they suspect, they will put you on doxycycline until the test results come back.
Well,
And you
And
have it for a
sometimes-
long time, right?
You can,
All right,
yeah,
this
for
is all
years.
serious stuff, and we have two guests here who are gonna tell us how we can protect ourselves this summer.
I'm gonna come to the camera down here, ready? Wait,
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at you,
Oh, wait,
Carol
there we go.
Merrill. Wait, how do
can
you
you,
wanna do this?
oh.
There we go.
Oh wait, there we go,
We've never done
TickWise,
that before.
yeah.
It's like a special effect on this show.
Now, this, we have two guests here who are the founders of Three Moms Organic, although there's only two of them here today.
Our resident hand model.
Yes, I'm a hand, oh, Jackie, you should have done that since she's
No,
a
you did
hand
so
model.
well. You did so well.
Joining us today is Cami
She's on
Wolf.
strike, SAG
What's-
AFTRA.
That's
Oh,
right.
she is right here.
Right.
Cami Wolf and Lisa J. Eggert, did I pronounce that correctly, Lisa?
You did.
Now, how did you guys get into the tick fighting business?
So I almost died from tick-borne diseases. Most importantly, I had Lyme disease, but neurological Lyme, it had gone very far because I was not diagnosed in time. And
Wow.
I had Babesia and Ehrlichia.
Oh.
And Cami and I met, I worked for Natural Resources. That's actually where we met years ago in my early 20s. And I was always outside. I landscaped for a living.
Oh,
I worked for the Bronx Zoo and I did a turtle study site, so I was always outside. And I was constantly in tick habitat.
and
And
tick magnet.
then we really
call it.
didn't, back then we kind of heard about Lyme disease, but you heard more about Rocky Mountain spotted fever
Right.
and all of those things. And it really, I'd pick ticks off like kind of daily. Well,
Back then was how long ago? Pardon me, but when did this
a
happen to
long
you?
time ago, 'cause I was young then, but a long time
Well,
Back in the late 20s,
90s.
early 30s, late 20s,
it wasn't
1920s.
diagnosed as often, and it
It was
wasn't
not.
as well known as
It was
the
not.
point, and this was at the beginning of that.
yeah.
Right.
And I was, I wound up like almost 15 years later, debilitated. Like I forgot how to tie my shoes. I couldn't get words from my brain to my mouth.
Wow, that's really.
It was really terrible. Thank goodness I found a doctor in upstate New York who finally was like, you're in bad shape. I had babiosis, which is malaria-like.
Holy cow, wow.
And I had Ehrlichia.
Mm.
And these had been chronic infections for a long time. They were testing me when I had Babesia for all sorts of cancers because I was bruising everywhere. But nobody ever thought to test me for babiosis. So,
This was really about, like, I assume, like 30 years ago is when this really came into light. The
Yeah.
first time I know I heard about Lyme and all these tick-borne
this
diseases.
was about 14, well, I mean, I was really sick about 14 years ago. My husband at the time was almost died. He was in the hospital for 8 weeks. Also, we were both diagnosed within 3 months of each other with MS.
Was that a correct diagnosis?
No.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
yeah.
This is a nightmare.
It was-
I mean, it really is.
was
From the
like- he was
first
not-
time you felt sick till they absolutely knew what was wrong with you, how
It
much
was-
time
It was
transpired?
about 15 years and 50 doctors later.
Wow.
You know, that's not uncommon, unfortunately.
And all of this leads you to a very worthy cause, which is TickWise.
Right, so I had a friend, I was working as a pre-K TA in one of our local schools, and I was going for treatment at the doctor that I found in upstate New York, and I had now been on antibiotics already for 9 months on oral, and then I was on IV antibiotics for 3 months.
Holy cow.
So, I was going to school with a PICC line in, and I really didn't tell a lot of people about what was happening. And she had this essential oil product that she had made it herself. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna give this to you as a gift. It could be really helpful. And over the course of time, we were like, oh, maybe we should bring this to market because it did work. Maybe we should bring this to market. And we did a little switch up of her products. We did, took some things out, put some things in, did a little switch up and started Three Moms Organics in 2018.
And Cami, how do you fit into this? Have you had the
So,
diseases as
I
well?
have had Lyme disease twice.
Mm.
And
Twice,
I-
not once, twice.
Twice, and I had a very different experience. I mean, in a way, I was fortunate because I had the bullseye. So I knew, right? So I got on antibiotics right away. I was on antibiotics for long enough, and I haven't had any problems since. But not everybody gets so lucky. And I came to this, so I go way back, as LJ said, we met about 25 years ago working for the Natural Resources Department. And then I went into real estate, as you know, and I did that for a very long time.
Very
over-
successful at real
Thank
estate
you.
as well.
For over
Someone in the
20
Hamptons in real estate, what are the
What a
odds?
shocker. And so I did that for over 20 years and I really enjoyed it. It was very good to me, but I was at a crossroads. It was COVID and it's, nothing like a global pandemic to make you reflect on your life
Right.
and think, what else would I like to do? So I reached out to LJ and just talking about, just brainstorming different ideas. And she said, maybe there's room for, your Three Moms Organic. So that was 2022 and we had a lot of conversations and I took the plunge and, I'm a partner and I'd been using the product for years. I knew it was
Who's the missing
amazing.
mom?
Yeah, who's the
Who's
third?
the third mom?
The consumer.
The consumer.
Oh, I was wondering that too.
And I must
So
say.
men can't buy it.
Yeah, no, not for you. Full disclosure,
Mr.
I
Mom.
have bought it
Yeah.
and used it and I really like the smell.
It smells great.
It
And
Yeah.
it
does.
works.
Great.
We're
And
registered.
it works.
Yeah.
We're a registered natural repellent in all 50 states, which is impossible to do.
It is a Herculean task to get registered in all 50
Say
states.
Herculean one more time.
Herculean.
There you go.
There you go.
Bravo.
You know what it is? It's we are governed by the EPA, but every state has a bureau that has to register you. So that is going through 50 states
Oh my
of
goodness.
bureaucracy. Everybody wants something else on the label. So
Right.
this label has been vetted by somebody in all 50 states plus DC, and we're really proud of
I'm surprised
Having
you
gotten
have
it through
open
that.
We had
spaces
to
on
prove-
that label.
Yeah, we had to prove efficacy, we had to
Sure.
prove, we had to give them our SDS sheet, like there was so many things, and I don't know
hurdles.
if you've ever tried to read Governese, but it's really,
Oh my
Governese.
God,
Really
Governese.
tough.
Oh,
We're on Governese right now. Are you kidding?
Governese
You
television.
have no idea what we had to sign to be here
So-
on Weekend Live, the Hamptons.
somebody who's never run a business before, never mind tackling the EPA.
Well,
And not only the EPA, but each state's pesticide department.
Okay, so
So-
I'm a little curious here. Now, you say you had to prove the efficacy, right? Say that 3 times.
No way.
No way. What does that mean? I mean, on TV, we always see, they spray it on and then they stick their hand in a whole bowl of.
Well, there's a video on our website that shows before we had the money for efficacy data testing, which is super expensive. So what we had to do is, there's a video on our website that shows
And the web address again,
the
threemomsorganics.com.
But
Yeah, we
I
showed the
sprayed
website.
around a piece of paper and, because I wanted to prove to people that it worked. And I went out and I did a tick drag and I threw the ticks in the middle and you could see they don't leave the page. And then I dried it, because how are we gonna prove to people that it was effective
Yes, without
we did get
costing
the
a fortune.
without costing a
Yeah.
fortune?
But we did get the efficacy data, the
Well,
independent
of course, the
lab that
states
did it.
wouldn't take that.
And they do put your
They
hand
were
in a
like-
box and there's, there are mosquitoes
Okay,
flying around. and
I'm
ticks. Yeah.
itching now as we
Yeah.
talk about this. I'm like, oh my God.
So we had to, the efficacy data, we had to send it to a third-party lab, and California would only take 1 of 2 labs in the United States.
Wow.
And we went with the cheaper one, but it was still a really hard lab. Like California's incredibly thorough in their pesticides, and we had to send them a booklet like this thick in, with separators of what, like they really wanted, which was great. So we started with kind of California because we started with the hardest state. We figured if we could get the harder states, we can, roll from there.
And
Nope.
this is primarily, all organic, correct?
It's all natural,
All
so.
natural, okay, natural versus organic, understood.
And the reason why is the EPA actually will not let you use the word organic in your product. We started out organic,
Mhm.
and in order to buy organic oils, it would have cost, 4 times as much as what we're paying.
Well,
what you would
if
pay
you
for
put
this.
oregano in it, could you call it oreganoic?
Oh,
that was a bit-
ba-dum-bum-bum.
no, but-
These are the times I wish we could edit.
Yeah. No, but there
There's
was,
no post-production because we're Weekend Live.
you know what, in the New York Post today, they had a whole article about how alpha-gal, which is you cannot eat meat or dairy once you get
Which
bit.
I've had it.
And it's, we
I've had it.
have a picture of the Lone Star tick from the New York Post website today.
Absolutely.
And this will protect against that evil
Right, we
tick.
know that, by the way, because we've been
That's,
talking about
that's,
this.
that's what it
new-
looks like. It has the white spot on the back. Isn't that
So
awful?
Lone
But it's a
Star's
lot smaller than that
And
too,
it's
in real life.
size of a pin,
Yeah,
they said
it's
a
not
pinhead?
actually.
Pinhead,
Yeah, well, Lone Star's a little bit bigger, but their nymphs are the size of a pinhead, and if you get attacked by the nymphs, which everybody calls chiggers,
Yes.
they're not, we don't have chiggers up here, classic chiggers, we have nymph ticks, and when you get attacked by that, it exponentially makes you more likely to get alpha-gal.
Wow.
So alpha-gal is a meat allergy, and it's hard to diagnose because it's something that doesn't, unlike regular food allergies, you get it almost immediately, right? Your tongue swells, your throat hurts, like,
Wow.
you know,
But
all those kind
alpha-gal
of
is
things.
3 hours
Right.
to 6 hours
Or
after
to
you eat
eight.
the meal,
The meal.
the
Well,
red
but-
meat.
So it's usually in the middle of the night, and it actually can be very dangerous. I had alpha-gal where I had hives and anaphylaxis.
That's what I
But a
get as
lot of
well,
people get
yeah.
anaphylaxis just in their gut.
Wow.
And so therefore, then you're just throwing up. People have had gallbladders removed and everything. Meanwhile, it was really
Alpha-gal. Well,
You're
we're
a
pick-
modern miracle. I don't know how you're still alive.
Well,
You've had everything.
okay, so
a
we're
lot
gonna.
of tick-borne diseases.
Yeah,
Where
get
can we
this?
get Tick-Wise other than, I know we can get it from the website, we can order on the website. Locally, where in the Hamptons are you guys available?
One Stop Market, One Stop Pet.
We're
We are
in
in
Montauk at Naturally Good, we're
at
at the Salt Cave in
RBS.
Montauk, we're at Riverhead Building Supply, Village Hardware, the new Bonfire Cafe in Amagansett, Amber Waves, the
Awesome.
corner store, a ton of spots on the east
I
end.
smell Shark Tank.
Let me see this again. So if you see this,
If you
you
look
know
at
you
our
can
Wait, let the
locations-
hand model do it.
Oh, wait, let Jackie do it. Go, Jackie, you have a
my
better
word,
hand than I
oh,
do.
my word.
If you look
She's
at the
scabbing now.
locations on our website, it'll tell you we're actually moving across the United States.
Keep going in.
Oh,
Jackie.
congratulations.
Where am I?
Yeah.
You're-
It's
oh,
like,
wrong. Oh, bummer, wrong camera.
Oh, wrong camera.
We're
Oh,
getting,
wow.
we're getting stores.
Oh, there we go.
Well,
We
there
have,
it
Bill
is.
has
Here's
it.
the overhead shot.
There we go.
We're getting
Three
stores.
moms, Tick-Wise insect repellent. You are the third mom when you buy it. Dads can buy it too, and it's everywhere. And it's important, especially this summer when we have seems like a higher incidence of ticks and
Oh,
gnats
Tick-borne disease,
and
yes.
mosquitoes
Same
and
this year.
I spoke to Cammie this morning, like, this is so timely. I
Yes.
mean, I don't I don't remember hearing about so much Lyme disease and alpha-gal as I have this year. It's,
Right.
the numbers
And
I'm sure are
it's-
skyrocketing.
You
It's
guys
going
are
to-
such good guests. I'm stunned
Yeah,
you're
you
here.
guys were awesome.
I can't
Thank
bel-
you
I can't
so
believe we were
much
this topical.
for coming in. Very topical.
There go
Thank
two of the
you.
moms
Thank
from
you.
Three Moms.
Oh,
and
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
see if it works against Bill. Pests.
Smells
Pests.
Okay.
Against pests.
Oh, it's, you guys, this really is,
I know, it
smells
smells really
fantastic,
good. Very
fantastic.
good. I really strongly recommend this.
Hey, quickly,
I'm a
the weekend weather is brought to you by a bunch of folks, including the Melissa Cohn Group with William Ravis Mortgage, more at Ravis, RAVIS.com. Saturday and Sunday, it's hot, but not as hot as it's been this week. High in the mid-80s with a chance of the afternoon thunder showers on Saturday. Humidity kind of high at 77%. UV index 8 out of 11, and sun's up at 5:42 and setting at 8:08. The overnight low 67. Sunday high in the upper 70s, so bearable, and the humidity gets a lot more comfortable at 63%. The UV index, however, rising to 9 out of 11, and sun's up at 5:42, setting at 8:06. The days are getting shorter. That's what they do. The show gets longer because that's what it is. We talked about Guys and Dolls.
What
We
if we're
talked
bored
about-
this weekend? What can we do? What can we do?
What can
Well,
we
we've
do?
got we've got a lot of tag sales we can go to.
Yeah, there are
Can
tag
we-
sales.
Can we show those now?
I don't have the tag sale information,
Yeah,
but
you
let's,
do.
no, I don't,
Yeah, you
actually.
do.
Can
Oh,
we
yeah,
see them
yeah.
online? There we go.
Now we're live.
Yeah.
If we just had a rehearsal.
Oh,
The
no,
one
this
at
is what makes it
Millstone,
fun.
1125 Millstone has a 20-year collection of local and overseas outdoor images. I have no idea what that means. But go there and buy them because these
Landscape?
people want to sell them.
Landscapes,
Okay.
maybe.
Goose Lane, there's vintage clothing and handbags. North Sea Road, both days, upscale designer clothing, shoes. And in Sag Harbor, on Saturday only, new antique household clothes, shoes, suitcases, china, furniture, etc.
I like
They
it.
don't
Back
want
to
it, they
China.
want you to want it. Go see those folks at these tag sales.
On North Sea Road, they have comics.
Yes, on
So if anyone's a comic
comics.
book collector, make sure to go to the one on 908 North Sea Road.
Yes.
There you go.
You know, you always hear those stories on, Antiques Roadshow, where the people go to a tag sale and there's a comic book and it's 10 cents or $1 or something, and then they show up on Antiques Roadshow and it's worth $100,000.
Well, don't you remember the movie Who the Bleep is Jackson Pollock? A woman went to a yard sale and bought a Jackson Pollock painting and it was worth millions. And she didn't know who Jackson Pollock was. There's a whole documentary about that, which is And Jackson Pollock, you should go visit the Jackson Pollock House.
Which
in the
has
spring.
just sold several non-transferable or whatever NFTs, NTFs or whatever of the floor, Jackson Pollock's floor.
That's really
And they
cool.
raised well over like $200,000, I believe.
Have you
for-
been to the museum?
Yes, I have. I've actually stood on that
Very floor, and
Yep.
it's funny the way they match the paintings with these spots in the
With
floor if you've never
splatter.
gone.
It's quite fascinating.
You can do it too.
Um,
Kids, don't try this at home. Go to the Jackson Pollock House and put the paint on the floor.
What about kids in the movies this weekend? Anything going on, Bill?
Yes, we were talking about Haunted Mansion a moment ago. Let's throw up the, we can start either in East Hampton or in
Sag
Sag
Harbor.
Harbor. Sag Harbor has most of the usual suspects, except the original Willy Wonka, because there's a new one coming with Timothy Chalamet.
We'll
But
show that. We have actually a
the
clip we'll
original
show
one
it
is
in
part of their morning series for kids, 11 a.m.
on Saturday.
And 11 a.m. on Sunday. Otherwise, your chance to catch up with Barbie, Mission Impossible, or Oppenheimer. And then at the Regal in East Hampton, that's where Haunted Mansion is opening this weekend. Again, the movies are not, Haunted Mansion is supposed to make about $30 million this weekend. Hopefully not this year at Disney.
Yeah, that's not good for Disney if that's all they make.
But it's actually gonna come in third because Barbie and Oppenheimer are supposed to make just as, well, not as much money as they made last weekend. They made $258 million. But the headline here is you can get into Barbie this weekend. Everything was
I don't know
sold
about
out.
that. I saw Indiana Jones last night, finally, and Barbie was sold out last night.
Wow.
On
That's
a
gonna
Wednesday
be-
night, Barbie was
it's a
sold out.
gangbuster.
I just.
That's crazy.
No, wait, can we go back to Willy Wonka? Because I want to look at, we have video of the new Willy Wonka that's coming out with Timothy Chalamet.
We do.
It's actually, oh, never mind, let's just
Let's
go.
go to any of the.
No, there we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Yeah, so Bill, this is,
You see, I'm something of a
this is a
magician,
prequel, I'm being
inventor,
told,
and chocolate
for
maker.
Willy Wonka. It comes
So
out at
quiet up
Christmas,
and
Timothy
listen down.
Chalamet. It is a musical.
Scratch that. Reverse
And
it.
you know what, the advance word, it's actually pretty good.
So you're
So-
a man of great engineering.
Very.
What are you doing?
The seal is being shot in the
How
other
do you
room.
like it? White, nutty, absolutely.
What was that noise?
So I didn't know this was a prequel. I thought it was another remake. of
No,
it.
it's how he got into the chocolate business. There you go. But it looks actually pretty visually stunning. Whatever, anyway, we're done, Jason. You can get this.
Thank you for doing that. Oh, look, it's got a little nod to Barbie there.
Oh, there you go. It's not Barbie, it's Willy Wonka.
Hey,
Willy Wonka.
want to tell you, Neil Patrick Harris is guest bartending on Sunday. He's mixing up a new signature caffeinated cocktail called the After Hour Espresso. That's at the Sunset Harbor.
And I heard he's gonna do a guest appearance at the Wayne Scott Walk-In Clinic as Doogie Howser, and he's gonna treat people and diet. No, he's not doing that.
That's 5:30 to 6:30 on
I bet
I bet he
Sunday.
knows all about Lyme. I'm
Yeah,
going there.
yeah, put 'em-
Also, 35 years ago this weekend, Nick and Tony's opened, one of the landmark restaurants in
Yeah.
East Hampton. Constant in and out of celebrities there all the time.
Yes.
And they're doing a special anniversary on Sunday night, along with the Guildhall folks and Florence Fabricant. They're having a conversation with Tony Ross, the owner, and Chef Joe, am I saying Realmuto? or
Realmuto.
Joe Realmuto.
And
Realmuto.
special guest Chef Jonathan Waxman. That's Sunday night. Also Polo on Saturday on Lumber Lane again. And then Fran Drescher is out here this weekend.
The wellness seminar.
Fran, the nanny.
Mr.
And,
Sheffield. Anyway.
She's joining us.
And
So,
our Screen Actors Guild president, she's doing a very good job, I should say.
well.
But you know what, I wanna go, real quick question, because we do have one more guest we wanna get.
We have
Nick and
two more
Tony's.
guests.
Two more guests. Nick and Tony's. A lot of celebrities there. What's the best celebrity sighting you ever had at Nick and Tony's, Bill?
Billy Joel's there a lot. And then I guess the most consistent is either Spielberg or,
Yeah.
who do you see?
I will tell you a great story. I'm sitting there at my table and the waitress is taking an order behind me and I heard this voice and I turned around I looked up at the waitress and I said, "Is it?" She goes, "Yeah." It was Tom Hanks right at the peak of one of the Toy Story movies.
Nicest
So,
guy on the planet. Nicest guy on the planet.
That's
that was my
exciting.
favorite sighting.
Very
My favorite
exciting.
interview of everyone. Hey, speaking of favorite interviews, look who's here. William Quigley is here from the AV New York Gallery.
Mr.
Yeah.
Quigley.
He has a special event happening next weekend that we want to preview. Tell us about it.
Well, there's a lot of content here.
Yeah.
Basically, the gallery was started in '94 in LA, across from the Ivy. Now that was a spot.
Sure.
Ooh.
Larry Gagosian's my guy at sighting, but Larry's kind of a friend. But he's always in Nick and Tony's on Saturday nights if you're an artist. Anyway, AB Gallery, I collect a lot of art. My teacher was Lee Krasner.
Oh,
No
wow,
kidding.
that's a hell of a teacher to have.
Alice Neal, Jane Wilson.
Were you in grade school?
And I met de
Jeez.
Kooning when I was 29.
Wow.
So I showed with de Kooning. No, I was in grade school, I'm 62, so it was like way back in the 80s. But anyway, Lee gave me a book about her husband, which I still have. And then I found a de Kooning book when I was a sophomore. So after I met de Kooning, he told me to move here in like 1991. Finally, I arrived in 2013. So I opened the gallery, found a space on Craigslist at Skank Fuels, 120 years at the time, now it's around 132. So, so AB Gallery really is a place for, I want to try to expand and bring in new young art and, bring in people that are local. And I was happy when all the galleries like Pace, et cetera, came here and now they left. So, and I'm also now being kind of positioned to kind of maybe take over Leaf Hope at the Artists and Writers Game.
Oh,
Leaf calls me
lovely.
daily and asks me to go to Pachabag or, and have lunch with them. And I think that's a really, really important, tradition. 75,
That is.
it's the oldest tradition in the Hamptons. So
amazing,
this event we're doing is
Other than the
supporting that.
LVIS fair.
Supporting that.
Yes, I can learn more, of course, but I'm told, of course, by the board that wants me to take over that
It is the event.
it's the
It's
event.
the
And we
event.
want to get younger, Jody. We want to get young people involved that want to come out, maybe change the time of the day. So this event we're doing next week is supporting the 75th anniversary of the Artists and Writers Game. Carl Bernstein, I'm not allowed to say it, but the umpire every year.
Oh.
We all know who he is.
Yes,
If you
we
don't want to
do.
come out and see him, so anyway, we're trying to get younger.
It's not Obama, but
Yeah.
it's like
So we're doing a fashion show. I own a brand called Scrapper. I've had it 25 years. Started in LA. Then I was part of this band called Dispatch. So we had sold it in Madison Square Garden 7 times.
Oh, my.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. I was ahead of Grey Goose Vodka. I
You
put the
go
fir-
to Nick and Tony's and we can say we saw
So
the
you-
sighting.
Well, I did a lot of things. I did a lot of branding. I was the head of Grey Goose for a while when I first started and poured the first Red Bull. Did Casamigos' party for them at this space we're doing. So I've had this space 10 years. And now this is our 10th, it's probably more than 10 events, but it's the 10th annual event that we're doing. This is where I sold the Trump painting. I gave all the money to Soldiers and Guildhall back in 2013.
And
So Trump bought that painting in 2013 before he became president.
Now,
wow.
before you go, say hello to one of your new colleagues in town. Slide over, and Steve Hartman, come on in here. Steve has a new gallery in
Steve.
Southampton.
How are you?
We're doing
Cassandra
art.
Gallery. Cassandra Gallery just opening this weekend in
Congratulations.
Southampton in the old
Okay.
Christie space. Welcome
Oh,
to
that's
the Hamptons.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
And you have a
Awesome.
special new artist that you're opening with this weekend. Tell us about him.
We are. El Cid is one of the most important public installation artists around the world. I would say he and Banksy right now are sought out by major curators and governments to highlight different social causes around the world. And I've been tasked with launching his fine art career at the major art fairs. And we decided to open up with him at our new space at One Pond Lane in Southampton.
And this
Fantastic.
weekend, you're having a welcoming for that work, and also, who else are you displaying there?
We are highlighting most of our major artists, and a lot of them will be coming in throughout August and September for events, like Alexi Torres will be coming in August 17th to the 19th. We have David Drebin coming in on the 31st with an event with Caviar Roos. We have all kinds of exciting things planned, and this building that I've been passionate about for over 5 years. I love the building.
Yeah, it used to be a gas station a million
Yeah.
years ago. It's on Newtown Lane. And
Kind of, it's One Pond, which I guess is at the corners of Hill and Jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
William, do all of the art galleries out here get along? Have we,
I don't know, I'm always in my studio.
Ah.
And none of them
We
call
got along
me.
when we met
None of
at
them call me,
Building
so I open my own gallery. No, I have Julie.
promise to go to each other's galleries?
I love it. I'm very supportive. I mean, I think it's a very important, position to be in, to be a dealer. It's not.
And how's the art market
But
doing?
let me
in general?
segue this
Yeah,
real
sure.
estate thing. The real estate market, the rates are up, but there's so many walls that are available. We're in the wall business. And all these homes were just built. So I tell all the realtors, including Tim Davis and all the guys, his son and everyone, and I just met that couple, at the Palm, Lamberts. And I'm like, you know what? They're all coming to me for art. That's the
Wonderful.
business, because you're not making your commission selling homes.
Now, your studio is
The top
located,
artists in the world in auctions out here.
if people want to come see your stuff, William, where do they go?
That's a tough call.
Okay, there
AB
you go.
Gallery, just AB Gallery, we got a incredible
Go to
woman.
open houses.
Yeah, there you go.
And you'll see them on the
But Julie
walls.
Case-
No, not open house. I'm saying after you sell the house, get the check, then you call the artist. Cause you're free then.
All good advice. Cassandra
Yes.
Gallery, welcome to the Hamptons from Palm Beach and Cleveland. And
Welcome.
you now know one of your colleagues. This is Weekend Live. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend. We do this every week. We're as stunned as you are that this is a television show. And
And that they allow us to come back.
we're live and that
And
people
we're having
actually
such a
come
good
back.
time.
Jackie
It's
Dunphy,
wonderful.
thanks for standing in for Bridget Leroy.
Thank you so much.
Bridget,
Thank you.
hope all was, thanks for
Thank
coming in.
you.
That
Have
was
your
awesome.
good time
tick
is what
wise
it's all
and then
about.
go see these two guys' art galleries. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Wow,
I've had that building for so long.
Wow, that was good.